In recent weeks, BTS's Jungkook name has again dominated South Korean and international entertainment news. But this time, the spotlight did not come entirely from the musical works, achievements, or stage activities of the global megastar. Jungkook's different attitude in the public eye, coupled with HYBE's perceived silence, sparked a huge wave of speculation among fans and the media. Many are wondering, what exactly is going on? Jungkook is known for being warm, expressive, and relatively open compared to top idol standards. Every little gesture, look in the eyes, to the choice of words in the interview is often the subject of conversation. But later, the public considered that there was a change in the atmosphere that enveloped him. Jungkook looks more selective, more silent, and tends to keep his distance from the spotlight that he usually faces with a big smile. This change was not accompanied by any official statement. But that's exactly where the suspicions began. Korean media began to highlight how Jungkook appeared less and less in spontaneous interactions with fans. Live activities that used to feel liquid are now barely audible. On several public occasions, Jungkook's expression appeared calmer, some even calling him cold, though without being rude or controversial. But for a figure of Jungkook's class, the slightest change immediately becomes a headline. The situation further heated up when HYBE, the agency that houses BTS, chose not to give any statement. No clarification, no rebuttal, not even a brief comment that is usually issued to dampen speculation. This reticence, on the contrary, is interpreted variously. Some fans think HYBE is protecting Jungkook's privacy. But not a few also accuse the agency of deliberately keeping silent in order to avoid bigger issues. On social media, hashtags related to Jungkook and HYBE had occupied the top ranks of trending. Discussions grew wild, ranging from allegations of mental exhaustion to industry pressure to speculation about differences in views between artists and management. Not a single one has been confirmed, but the absence of clarification makes all possibilities feel open. Some observers of the Korean entertainment industry consider Jungkook's attitude to be a form of maturity. At his current age and career position, Jungkook is no longer in the phase of proving himself. He is a global symbol, and many artists at this point choose to better preserve energy and personal space. But this analysis again clashes with HYBE's attitude that does not provide any context to the public. The emotional tension came from loyal fans, ARMY, who are known to have a strong bond with Jungkook. Many of them expressed concern, not anger. They questioned whether Jungkook was doing well and whether the system behind the industry really gave the artist room to breathe. This narrative has grown stronger as Jungkook has over the years been known as a figure who prioritizes others, including the group and fans, even over himself. In several indirect uploads, Jungkook had shared short sentences that were widely interpreted by the public. Despite not mentioning any name, agency, or issue, the reflective tone in his message triggers the interpretation that he is in a phase of great contemplation. The international media also began to raise this issue as part of the pressure faced by world-class K-pop idols. HYBE, as a large company with a neat communication system, is certainly aware of the impact of their silence. But until now, the silent attitude is maintained. Some analysts consider this a strategy to prevent the issue from developing further. But ironically, the silent strategy often magnifies public curiosity, especially when it comes to a figure as big as Jungkook. Interestingly, there is not a single indication of open conflict. No lawsuit, no loud statements, no verifiable internal leaks. All run in a gray area between perceptions, speculations, and collective concerns. This is what keeps the issue alive, even without official fuel. For Jungkook himself, this spotlight may be an additional burden in the middle of a more personal phase of life. Many forget that behind his global superstar status, he remains a human being who grew up from a young age under extreme spotlight. A change in attitude may be a reflection of the need to protect yourself, rather than a signal of conflict or a major problem. Until now, the public can only wait. Waiting to see if Jungkook will speak his own way, or if HYBE will finally choose to speak up. In the middle of the era of information openness, silence is precisely the loudest narrative. And as long as that silence continues, Jungkook's attitude will continue to be in the spotlight, not because of the controversy, but because of the uncertainty that surrounds him. One thing is clear: Jungkook did not lose support. Amid the recriminations, speculations, and assumptions, the biggest voices came from those who wished for one simple thing: that Jungkook was fine, happy, and given space to be himself, with or without the camera's spotlight. The silence that enveloped Jungkook and HYBE eventually turned into a kind of mirror for the entertainment industry itself. The public began to ask not only about what happens to a single individual, but also about how the great system treats a figure who has made so many contributions. In Jungkook's case, the agency's silence feels even more striking because it collides with the image of openness and closeness that has been built with fans. Some Korean media began to retrace HYBE's communication patterns in the past. They noted that the agency does often choose a minimal comment approach when it comes to issues concerning the artist's personal condition. But the difference is that this time the center of attention is Jungkook, a figure whose influence transcends the boundaries of the K-pop industry. When a figure of this size shows a change in attitude, the public no longer sees it as a purely personal matter, but a cultural phenomenon. In the online discussion space, the narrative that develops is even more emotional. Jungkook is at a saturation point after years of living under unreasonable expectations. Others interpreted his attitude as a form of silent resistance to pressures never really seen on camera. All these interpretations, although they have no official basis, find their place in the absence of explanations from the authorities. Interestingly, Jungkook's colleagues themselves chose a very cautious attitude. There are no superfluous comments, no uploads that provoke speculation. The togetherness shown remains warm, but feels more private. For some fans, this reinforces the belief that there was an unwritten agreement to protect Jungkook from overly aggressive scrutiny. Observers of public psychology judge that fans' response to this situation shows a maturity that is rarely seen. Instead of demanding an explanation or blaming Jungkook, many asked that he be given space. The phrase "we will wait" appears again and again, as if becoming the most sincere form of support amid the noise of opinion. But on the other hand, the pressure on HYBE is getting stronger. Accusations of silence are no longer just a matter of communication, but of moral responsibility. As a large company that often talks about the mental health of artists, the public demands consistency. HYBE's silence is considered contrary to the protection narrative that has been echoed. This situation creates a paradox. If HYBE speaks, there is a risk of enlarging the issue. If it remains silent, suspicions continue to grow. It is in this gray space that Jungkook stands, being the subject of conversation without ever actually speaking. Each of his looks, a glimpse of a smile or a look in the eye, is analyzed as if it harbors a hidden message.